Are you ready for your window shoppers to become paying customers? Ecwid Ecommerce is here to make that happen. We can help you automatically show the exact product visitors saw but didn't purchase on your site wherever they go on Facebook and Instagram using this magic called dynamic Facebook retargeting. To show these ads to your prospects today, sign up in your Ecwid control panel in the marketing section and look for the Facebook remarketing app. This is fully integrated into Ecwid and Facebook and so simple and effective you'll wonder why you hadn't done this sooner. Okay, back to the show.
This is the Ecwid E-Commerce Show with your host, Jesse Ness, along with Richard O'Tay.
What's going on, Richard? You ready for another show?
Oh, yeah, always. Especially, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah. Actually, you've known this guest for a while now. I think what's interesting is, we talk a lot about social media. We talk about shoppable posts and things like that. But I wouldn't say either one of us are experts in social media, so we can talk about it a lot, but I think every now and then we need to bring on an expert level to really give our guests something beyond, post this, tweet that. Like we really want to add more to our merchants and give you guys something to think about. So,
yeah, definitely. And John, you'll be introducing him properly here in a second, but he's been doing it for a while. You know me, you've heard I was one of some of the original sellers on eBay, and I think John's one of the few people that actually can say was before me. And, back when PayPal was actually called X, I think we'll ask him when he comes on here, but I think he was even using it back then too. But, pioneer in the space. He's been doing e-commerce for a while, and then he's kind of segued now into doing speaking and conferences. And we saw him at an e-commerce conference not long ago. We're like, hey, we got to get you on the show. Like, you're living it every day and teaching people the tips and tricks that are really happening right now. So, go ahead and give him a proper introduction.
So, that's the better intro than I was going to do. But let's bring on international keynote speaker and author John Lawson. How's it going, John?
Woohoo!
All right.
And we don't have the big conference lights and everything going on with the clickers and timers and all that. So
I'm Beyonce music. I get it. What's up, guys?
It's a good day. We gave you a pretty good intro there. I mean, let's hope you can live up to that. Now, you are so you've been around a long time in e-commerce and online. The name of your book is Kick-Ass Social Commerce for E-preneurs. I think that's a great title. I mean, can we borrow that for the podcast? What do you think?
Please do.
All right.
We'll be stealing some of the link juice, though. So
the link juice. Go for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, how about if you start with, a brief history of what got you started, and then kind of where you're at today and what you think people in the e-commerce space should be focusing on, and we'll just roll with it because we know we're with a trained professional here, so we're all good.
Yeah, here's what I don't tell the story all the time. It gets boring if you tell the same story year after year on stage. But I mean, the way I got started is I had a friend that came to me and said, "Hey, you should flip a house with me." And long story short, this is like 2001, and I ended up upside down with a second property that I couldn't afford, and we couldn't get anybody to rent it. I couldn't sell it, and I was about to go bankrupt. And so I was trying to find a way out of the bankruptcy. Somebody told me, well, you should sell your stuff on eBay. And I was like, really? eBay? I can sell stuff? I mean, I knew you could do like used socks or something, but I could actually sell stuff. So I had a bunch of used books that I was hoarding in my basement. I'd already read them. I was in IT, so I had those big, thick $30, $40 IT books. And once you read them, you don't need them. So I started flipping those on eBay, and it really was enough to keep the, creditors at bay. And it really got me into the fact that, wow, you can sell stuff online. And that's how I got into the whole e-commerce space. And you remember Tickle Me Elmos back in 2005? So those things were hard to get. And I had a lot of friends that worked in retail. So when they first hit the store shelves in like October, that's for guys, that's when, Christmas actually starts in early October. So you can actually look to see what's hot selling in the toys, and then you can pretty much extrapolate that that's going to be one of the hot toys by the time November or December rolls around. So once they sold out like hotcakes way early, I said, you guys, hey, if you see any more Tickle Me Elmos, give me a call. And I got a call one day, and I drove around 285, which is our outer loop in Atlanta, and I had a van full of Tickle Me Elmos. And I held those bad boys until 2 weeks before Christmas, and I was getting them off at 10x of what I paid for them. And so when you could turn $1 into $10 over and over again, there's a $35 doll I'm selling for $350.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous. And after that, I was hooked. I was in other people's basements. I was everywhere. I couldn't stop. And then I ended up stopping what I was doing on my regular job and went full time on e-commerce and haven't really looked back.
Oh, that's awesome. I did the same things early on with Beanie Babies and baseball cards and same type thing. You kind of wished, man, I wish it was December every month. If it only worked like that.
And I wish I knew that it wasn't going to last forever. That's what I wish I did.
Yeah, I lucked out. I don't have a garage full of Beanie Babies still. Like I switched product. I saw that coming quick. Every fad kind of runs out and you kind of want to do something sustainable. So what got you out of e-commerce and, well, more doing the social selling aspect of it now and what you actually teach people to do when you're at conferences and speaking out?
Well, you know what? We were, like you said, I was looking for repeatables. That's what, I was doing the arbitrage thing, which is going around and trying to find a, product that I could sell online and make some money. Yep. But I really wanted to, and I recognized that we needed to do our own products. We needed to do some kind of branding. And I tell people are like, well, what's a brand? And it's like, it's just your name. I'm like, no, a brand is not your name. A brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's your brand.
Yep.
And so we wanted to build a brand, and I started selling a lot of urban hip hop gear. And one of the things we sold were bandanas. And I swear it was just annoying because I thought we were going to sell bandanas to the urban crowd that we already knew. But what happened was we put it online and it started going international. It started going into the areas of our country that they call the flyovers, because these guys were really getting engaged at the time with the hip hop, community, and they didn't know what to do with the bandana. So the number one question I used to get was how to fold a bandana like Tupac. And I'm like, really? Really? And I got it so much that I made a YouTube video on how to do that. And it was a garbage video. I literally did it just so I didn't have to answer the question anymore. I could just point people to the video. Long story short, that video went viral. We have over 350,000 views of that video. I've sold tens of thousands of bandanas back in the day, and that was my claim to fame. So everybody was like, how do you sell using YouTube, which was really the origin of social media, was YouTube. Well, not really. I digress. The actual beginning of social media was really AOL, but your audience is probably too young to remember that. But it was the same concept where you would literally join these chat boards and groups and you would talk back and forth. And the first platform for social commerce was actually eBay, because when you were waiting for the auction to end, people would have these chat boards and you would be talking about the products, like they would talk about Beanie Babies. And you remember that was a very hot place to either find new Beanie Babies or to pick up, some low cost ones. So, all of that played into what people were asking me to talk about. And that was like early 2008, late 2008, somewhere around there. And that's kind of how I got into the social game.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the beauty too, that when you created that video, it lives on. And so I don't know if people really get that all the time. Certain socials, the life of that platform is a little different. Like I mean, preaching to the choir on this one, but
Yeah.
the lifespan of a tweet is the shortest, but it's very interesting because it's the real what's going on right now live platform. I still, when they debate with people back and forth, like, oh, is Twitter going away? It's like, I don't think it's going away. And when you compare it to the behemoth of Facebook, it doesn't look that big. But would you like to have 350 million active users?
Exactly.
I'd take it any day. But yeah,
Right.
but the YouTube for sure lives on. And I'm sure, I don't know to the same extent, but you still probably get sales because of that video.
Well, I probably would, but I don't sell them anymore. But yes, I probably would. It's still out there to help people. And we still get residual money from watches and ads on it. Yes.
And when VR happens again and Tupac's doing concerts, you maybe
a whole new
start
ball
over
game.
again.
Bam.
And there
you go. You just gave me an idea.
The next platform coming. Well, and there's probably a decent markup on a bandana. I mean, it was. I used to call it God money. It would just fall out of the sky. It was just so good.
So there was something you said in the middle of that I want to dive in a little deeper, and it was about brand and how you create a brand. And how exactly, to your point, do you get people to talk about you? What type of content would you recommend people? Let's kind of segue that direction on. What do you recommend when someone's just getting started and there's going to be various budgets? Some people are going to have more money, some people are going to have less. But just with the good old-fashioned phone, what do you think is a good way to get started for people on social and how they should communicate with their customers?
Yeah, that's the key. It's about communication with your customer. If you know what they need and you start providing it for them, they will talk about you. That's really at the most simplest level. The reason why Amazon is always talked about, it's not because Amazon has the greatest selection. It's not because Amazon has the greatest prices. People think they might because they don't search anywhere else. But the reason why people talk about Amazon and why Amazon is winning at this game is simply because of the service it provides. It is their service that is the brand. I know if I order something on Amazon and I'm a Prime member, right? Prime is their service. I get it in 2 days. And that's why they're winning the game. You have to create an experience for people that can't be duplicated and add value to the product that you already give. Most of our products get made in some third world country, or China or something like that, right? Most of us don't make handmade our own products. So what the deal is I can find whatever it is you're selling that somebody else can make by doing a great Google search and putting my name on that product. And I have a product. It's like Kevin, on Shark Tank always talks about, it's like, well, what makes you any different than anybody else? Well, you've got to figure out how to add value to your product. And a lot of times that is going to be the service that you provide. Right? There was a company called Zappos that Amazon never could beat in shoes. Zappos would be kicking Amazon's butt so much that Amazon ended up having to buy the company just so that they could compete on shoes. And Zappos brought their customer support understanding to the Amazon world. Zappos was the ones that had unlimited, you could return the shoes no matter when. And everybody's like, well, why would you do that? Because, look, if I have something and I have to get it to you in 14 days, your return policy is 14 days. Guess what? For the first 13 days, all I'm going to remember is I need to get that stuff back to these people. But when you tell me, hey, you got 6 months, guess what? By the time 5 months goes by, I'm not even thinking about those daggone things, right? So literally, when we extended and we, implemented some of that stuff, when we extended our return policy, we got less returns, believe it or not, because at some point it's not something that's top of mind anymore. And then after a while, you're just like, I've kept it this long. I'm just going to keep it, But the deal is we were beating our competitors because the competitor had this strenuous, we don't take any returns back, or we only take it back in 7 days. And we're sitting there going, we're laughing, right? Because now people are recognizing our brand because of the experience that we were offering to that customer. You've got to figure out, how can your experience be better for customers? Because today, price comparison is not going to win you the game. All that is a big drain. And you're going to watch your profits go down the drain, because somebody's always going to come back and beat you on price at some point. You don't want to compete on price. A brand is something that you can slap your name on it and actually charge more for the product. That's a real brand. If you can't charge more for a product because of your brand name, you don't have a brand. You have a label.
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that. It's almost like we're thinking about this or talked about it ahead of time. The price game, the commodity-based sale, is definitely losing battle, and you're going to lose to that company you just described, because Amazon, because they understand it's that customer experience, right? I mean, if we think Costco hit a home run with Kirkland, wait till we see what Amazon does with basics, right? It's going to put that to shame if it's just because they got all the data too, right? But you have to do a brand. It's kind of counterintuitive as I listen to you talk about it, where it's like you extend the return policy. You'd think, oh my gosh, that's going to make it worse, but it makes it better because it's this customer experience you're talking about. We live in a day and age, you used to have to drive a long way to go to a competitor. And now you can be inside of a Macy's, they piss you off, and you can buy from Nordstrom's on their Wi-Fi. Right? Yeah. So it's like, it's all about customer experience, and giving them that best experience is what's going to make them stick with you. Right? They literally can change to somebody right there, pull out their phone and buy it from someone else when you piss them off. But and even with the information marketers out there, because we know a bunch of those people too, not just products, they give away their best stuff. And you literally have probably given millions and millions of dollars worth of information to people, but people will still pay to have you come say it one more time because it's that important.
Right. And they know there's something deeper. They just feel like there's something deeper. What is it you're not telling me, John?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I just told you. You want to build a brand, do what I just said.
So
John, it has to be more.
So what would you recommend? So let's make a scenario up. It was a pretty good tip of the iceberg there with the how to fold a bandana.
Yeah.
And it led. So do you think make these videos about most frequently asked questions, or what's a good starting point? Someone that just
that is the starting point. Find the 10 things that are your most frequently asked questions and make 10 videos on it. And the key is you want to name the video how the question is asked.
Okay.
All right. Not how you ask the question or you think a question would be asked, but exactly how your customer keeps asking you the question. So in my case, it was how to fold a bandana like Tupac. Guess what my video was called? How to fold a bandana like Tupac. Right? That's because that's what people are searching for. Right?
Yep.
So, and especially in this new era, we don't understand what's about to happen. What's about to happen with voice commerce. See, because when you had the desktop, it was great. You could type in something and you'll get, 100 different results. But if I ask for toilet paper to Alexa or to Google Home, I don't want 100 results. I want one result. And what that means is that the ability to do selection of product is going away.
Yep.
And it's only going to be the one product because nobody wants a whole bunch of options. They just want what they want. So what you're really going to have, branding is going to be becoming so important in this new voice commerce era. You're going to have to get the people to ask for your product by it's selection is really going away. It's it's amazing what's about to happen.
Yeah, I love that advice there, because, of course brand is important, and but how does it really relate to what's going to happen in the next couple of years? Voice is the perfect explanation for that, because I get it. If you say I want a bandana, you're going to get the top option from Amazon if you're on Alexa. From Google, it's going to be probably something from Walmart or Target. But if you say, I want a bandana made by such and such brand, now they're going to lead you to that particular website. But otherwise, you're going to be buried. Number 2 is nowhere. Right. There is no number 2.
Right. And I mean, and realistically, even on Google or Amazon right now, the number 1 result gets more than 60% of all the buys.
Yeah.
Just think about that. The number 2 result gets 25%. And all the rest of them are fighting for, what is that, 8, 12, 15%.
Wow.
Right? Is that 15? Somewhere around there. Yeah. So you need to be top of mind. You've got to be top of mind. And so brand building is something, it's one of the things that people do not understand. It's an ongoing and a long play.
Yep.
You're not going to build a brand overnight. That's something you do while you're selling.
So do you recommend people start on one platform, or start on a platform where their customers are, or how do you feel about that?
You want to start where your customers are. Absolutely. And the thing is, and where they're buying. So, I mean, our customers, yes, are on Facebook, but are they buying on Facebook? Maybe not. Probably not, but maybe they're buying on, Pinterest. I don't know. Social, we're talking about just social platforms right there, right?
Yeah.
So you want to find out where they're hanging out in social. The other place you want to go to, of course, are possibly marketplaces. If that's something you're into trying, then go for it. Be on an Amazon or an eBay or an Etsy. Those places are pretty good, for getting started. Definitely good for brand building, right? So I think if you're just getting started, what you really want to do is focus in on 1 or 2 platforms, because multiplication by 0 will get you 0. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people are like, look, if I could just put it on 2 more channels, maybe No, figure out how to sell it on the channel you're on first. Like you just said, there's, what did you say, 3-point-something billion people on Twitter or whatever. And then everybody acts like they want the 150 billion on Facebook, as if that 3 billion is just too small for you. Mm-hmm. Really? Yeah. Come on, figure that out first. And then let's multiply what's working on that platform to other platforms. There's so much garbage around us that we always think the next platform is going to do it. The shiny object syndrome kills our ability to really focus. Focus is where the money is. Dig deep.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, of course, we're in the business, so we know all sorts of stuff. And we actually give our customers all sorts of advice on this podcast. But I think the better advice is, there's a lot of things you can do, but pick 1 or 2 that you really like, that your customers are really on. Like if you think all your customers are on Pinterest because maybe it's a little crafty or it's a food thing, and you're not on Pinterest, maybe that's one you want to focus in and learn. But hey, if you're selling to younger people, you might have to learn Instagram. That might be your thing.
Might.
You
might.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, Instagram's probably a good stock answer. either
it is a good
way.
stock answer right now for the younger folks.
Yeah. But
they're like anti.
Yeah, the anti-Facebook, owned by Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. I'm quitting Facebook. I'm going to Instagram. I'm like, that's not working.
Yeah. You really showed Mark Zuckerberg there.
Sally, and I'm going to date May, even though she's Sally Mae.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I always get a kick out of that one too. People are, they're going to switch to another platform. I'm off of Facebook, going to Instagram. Yeah. So how do people? Okay, so they start out, they get a new brand. Like we get a lot of beginners that are listening to the show, and maybe they haven't made that many sales. Maybe we're talking, they've made 50 sales, 100 sales total, and so they're they might not really know the platform where people are hanging out. Like they popped up a site, got some sales, doing some ads, maybe testing the waters with a bunch of social media. How can they really? How can they hone in? What's the hot tip here we can give them to pick that platform? I know it's not easy.
You want to start looking for groups.
Okay.
You want to start looking for groups like on Facebook, even if you go back to the old school forums, and find out where people are talking about that vertical of products you sell. So let's say you sell women's apparel. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of places where people talk about a women's apparel. And then, I sell blouses. All right, well, let's find what they're saying about the frustration of purchasing blouses and find out what they are talking about, how they're talking about it, what they like, what they don't like. The first thing you want to do is start listening to the conversation, because there's gold in listening to the conversation. Another place that I kind of like doing some detailed research is actually on Amazon. So if you've got product that are similar to the Amazon product, you go out and look and see what people are saying in the comments. Mm-hmm. And you don't really want, the good comments are great. Everybody's loving it. Find out the 1-star ones. Start reading the 1 and 2-star ones. And what that's going to give you is detailed information on how you can differentiate from other people's products. If they're saying they hate this part, they don't like this part, I wish it had, those are things that you can implement and put into your products and into your product descriptions, so that it's answering to the frustration that people are already talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, you start, if you're the expert, I'm the expert at folding bandanas. So if I find places where people are talking about how to fold I'll give you another, let's run with this example. So again, I think everybody's wanting to do the Tupac thing. I didn't realize that bikers use bandanas all the time until I started listening to the chatter out in the world. So it's like, okay, now I got wording that I can use so bikers will be attracted to our bandanas when they're doing their searches. I got words for, skaters that use bandanas and how they explain what they do with a bandana and why they wear it in their pocket or this, that, and the third. So you're out there. There's so much content that we miss because we're always trying to push, right?
Yeah.
But if you just listen, you start being able to create content that pulls for you.
Got it. No, that's great advice. I think, you created this, you had this idea. Maybe you didn't think it was your best idea, but it took off. It took off like wildfire. And now just by listening to other people, listening to the comments coming in, you're able to create other content. And now for you, when, that was a few years ago. So you were creating YouTube videos at that time. Is that what you would still do if you're in that business? Would you, would it be YouTube videos first, or would you be thinking elsewhere?
You know what? I probably would not necessarily be doing YouTube videos. But if I found out if I find out this is the issue and it needs to be demonstrated, there's nothing better to demonstrating something than using a YouTube video, right?
Okay.
Or a Facebook video. And I do say there's a difference. It's the same video, you just upload it to the native platform these days. You don't create a YouTube video and then put a link onto something. That just doesn't work anymore. Those guys are competing with each other for traffic, and they will deprecate how many people see your link based on that. So, yes, I think video is fantastic for doing what you do. I don't think I even said that those 10 videos that I'm telling you, make 10 separate videos, not the top 10 questions. You make 10 separate videos, nice and short, 3 to 5 minutes at best. You should be able to explain something. So I do still like video. I think video is still on the rise, and it's growing. Now, let's say you have some other stuff. Once you do the video, what I like about video is you can repurpose it. I can extract the audio, and now I've got an MP3 file. I can take that MP3 file, upload it to Rev, and that's like rev.com. I'm not doing a commercial here, but that's where you can take audio and it turns it into text. And now you've got a blog post that you can put out there. So when people do the search, they'll see your video, they might see you talking through the audio part, and now you've got an actual blog post to go with it. I take that blog post, I put it on my site, I take that blog post, I put it on Mention. I've gotten all of these is credible links that go back to your store, right? So now when Google looks at your store, they're seeing you've got links coming from all of these social channels, which they rank highly. And the more of those you have, the greater chance you have of being found.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a game. It's a game. You just got to play the game.
Yeah, and it's to your point there, you don't have to always make, yes, you want to make 10 different videos, but it's more important to actually make sure you're putting those in the right places and you're playing the game. Because to your point earlier about brand, even you're seeing even in Google search results, they're heavily favoring brands.
Right.
You know, it's because of probably that same reason. Everyone's fighting for that same customer experience. And no matter what platform they're on, they're trying to protect their customers. Some do it better than others. Some don't do it so well, but that's what they're really trying to do. They want to, why you say upload it natively. They want you to stay on their playground. If you're Google, they want you to stay on their playground. If you're Facebook, they want you to stay on that playground. So you kind of really listen to John there in that you want to find out first and foremost what the questions are being asked. Use our mouth and our ears in proportion to which we've been blessed with, 2 to 1 at least, right? Mostly, I'd probably say it's even a little higher than that, but listen and then create content the way your customers are searching for it, name it the way they are searching for it, and then put that in the places where they're at. But it all starts with what do you stand for? What are you making? And then finding those groups and listening to what they're saying.
I love that. I love the what do you stand for? People love that story.
Yeah, that's
good. You got to
good.
stand for something. And that's part of a brand like Patagonia. That's the part of their brand. It's what they stand for. And people use that stuff because they are outdoor enthusiasts as well that love to protect nature. Bam. Now you're getting, I see these 2 guys on TV right now, right, that are cleaning up the ocean. You seen this commercial?
No, not yet.
You haven't seen this commercial. There's these 2 like surfer guys that were just like in Bali, and stuff was washing up on the beach just because where Bali's located, a lot of plastics were just on the beach. And they just started a charitable organization where they were going to just start cleaning up the beaches. Literally in the last, I think maybe 3 years, this company has taken off, right? Even though it's a nonprofit and it's a charitable organization, just the amount of press they're getting and things like that is because they have a cause behind it. Cause marketing is a real thing. It's a real thing. And if you've got a story behind that, that becomes another reason why people stick and stay with you. There's a sock business. Every time you buy their pair of socks, they give a pair of socks to people in need. Those kind of stories generate natural press that generates buzz naturally, and people start talking about it because they want to be a part of the cause. We want to feel like our random consumption, but it's like, well, at least I'm buying socks for another person. There's a shoe company does the same thing. So, I mean, that's another way to get in front. Another thing you want to think about after we're doing all this, you guys already have customers. If you just got a few customers, then look, you need to talk to those customers and see if they will leave you some testimony. If you can get it on video, that would be fantastic. Matter of fact, I've only sold 3 of these things, but if I give you that product for free, would you make a video if you like it? They'll probably say, yeah. And I get that video. And now I get to take that video and start putting it all around places. And a testimonial from somebody else is worth 1,000 times more than you talking about your own self.
Yeah, that's great. And I think something you've mentioned several times now is video. Like it's coming back. It's coming back to video here, several different places. Like that is the new medium.
But I mean, it's what's the old saying? A picture's worth 1,000 words. 1,000, and I think today it's worth 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So video's not going anywhere. Our TVs are not getting smaller, people.
Yeah.
They're not, right? And our video is in our hand now. And when you're seeing people, they're watching something. The amount of time people consume just watching crap is amazing to me.
Yeah. Why not be part of that crap? But
you might as well be part of the crap, homies. You might as well be part. But the other thing is, too, I can't remember. I saw a study and they say how much time actually gets wasted from watching videos in stream. Because if you just think about it, you go and you're going through your stream and then a video starts playing and you give it 30 seconds. Well, you do that 10, 20 times a day. That's time you were not planning on wasting on watching videos. That's how engaging videos are.
Yeah, it's crazy. I heard I was listening to a podcast on the way in today, and they were talking specifically about Instagram stories. So, I mean, Instagram stories didn't even exist 2 years ago, and now that's like the dominant way that people are consuming video on their phone, and it's just little short videos.
Look, 2 years ago, they were called Snapchat stories.
Yeah. Then Instagram stole it and used it, but. It's video, and it's super short, and people get it. They take it by just picking up their phone and pushing that button. And
it's just telling a story.
Yeah. Yep.
From this is my day.
Yep.
And I mean, it's so simple. And I was reading something where Facebook stories are taking off too.
Yeah.
And Facebook's giving that more footprint in your timeline as well. So these are all things that you can do so simply. You can tell the story of how you guys started in business. You can show how you do your packing and shipping. You can talk about how much you love your customers. You can do videos on all kind of stuff. I get it. A lot of people won't watch it, but the few that do could be the ones that you sell to.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I know we've been kind of pounding the table on this one a little bit too, so I'm glad that somebody else is telling our customers too, like, yeah, you have to make video. Like, social media is not just sending out tweets and typing things on Facebook. Like, it's video. It's just video.
Yeah.
And the best videos are not the well-produced ones. Just think about the last time you saw a viral video and tell me, was it in a studio with $10,000 cameras and multi-angle shots? No.
It's probably a selfie.
Yeah,
it's probably a selfie.
It's kind of, I've noticed it's at the polar extremes, right? It's either the cell phone, to your point, or it's the Harmon Brothers with Squatty Potty or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's still, but to your point, because I don't want to derail them, highly produced videos still can really do the trick. I mean, that was they've done a bunch of really good ones, as you know. I'm sure you've spoken at some of the conferences where they've talked about it, but don't let that stop you is really your point. Like, you don't have to make it highly produced. These people are trying to run a business. You need to, kind of think back again. If we kind of recap on what you've said, listen to the audience of who you're trying to sell to. They're going to tell you what they want. And then you create content, and you literally, like we're saying, video is super important, but you also said, but also audio. You also talked about voice, and you talked about transcribing that into a blog post. Like, these are things you can do one thing and get a lot of use out of that one thing. And then you get really good at that one place, but then you also put it in other places, right? So what we're really trying to get across to the people here that are listening is you got to start somewhere, and the best place to start is listening what people are asking for. Then give them what a concept, give them what they're asking for,
right.
And they'll start to talk about you. The beauty of a brand too that we didn't really get into, but I'm sure you would attest to, is when you get loyal fans, you almost don't have to worry about the troll hate chatter on social, because your customers will jump in and protect you faster than you can even get on and log in.
Absolutely. Because you get brand fans, and brand fans are your best defenders.
Yeah, no, I love it. And I've seen it in action as well. Like, it's great because you think when you with social media, you do have to be on it. You can't let people fill up these feeds with a bunch of crap. You have to fight it. But when your customers start fighting back for you, oh man, then you're starting to win. Like, it takes a while, but you're starting to get there.
You're starting to win.
Yeah.
Oh, and one thing about the Squatty Potty video. I get it, right? But more than anything, it had a story. The video is actually crappy.
Right.
It's compared to a real highly polished video. If the campiness comes from the crappiness of the video, right? But it had a great story. Can you imagine somebody sitting there is like, yeah, we're going to lick a lollipop or a cone full of unicorn poop. Yeah, that's funny as hell, But you never know if that's going to play out, right? You never know. I remember Dollar Shave Club. That one to me was like, oh my God, I love this video. But it was nobody. I don't think they could have thought that it was going to be that big. Nobody can really just tell you what the customer or the public is going to gravitate towards. Because at the same time, Squatty Potty did what it's doing. You've got the kid in the back seat that's just got his teeth pulled and he's still, all loopy. And that thing has got 10 times more than a Squatty Potty video.
Yeah.
So you just never know what's going to catch on. And I don't know how many people have tried to make the Squatty Potty video.
Oh, right. Well, sometimes
unsuccessfully, right?
Yeah, it's a good point there. It's a little bit of like it's all in the story. That's one.
Yeah.
And then two, just back to your Dollar Shave Club. Did you see what Dollar Beard Club did with that too? Or like, they're basically kind of.
I need to go look now.
Oh, it's hilarious. You'll love it. Like they literally basically completely make fun of it. Look it up. You're going to love it. But it's kind of like the same thing. And what do we do? Blah, blah, blah. And then he's like slaps the guy who's got shaving cream. We sure the heck don't, blah, blah, blah. I can't curse. I don't want to curse on it, but you're going to love the video. It's hilarious. But so it's a little bit of you got to be yourself, but you can learn from what other people have done. So it's not like you go out there and exactly implement what they've done. You still have to keep your story. But when you see success, it does leave clues that you can learn from. Doesn't mean exactly, but it definitely clues you can learn from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think for listeners here, hopefully you guys have picked up some of those tips. And, if you want to listen to this again and take some notes, because there is a blueprint here inside this podcast for you to test things out and start to build your own success. So John, I really appreciate you being on the show here. Is there any last places where we can find out more about you?
JohnLawson.com. That's
awesome.
it. It's my name.com.
Awesome. Thanks again, John. Loved having you on.
Well, Rich, there's another great show.
And when you add it all together with the other shows, you won't miss any strategies or new tactics on how to grow your online business.
So to make sure you don't miss anything, subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Rich, what player do you like?
Probably Stitcher.
All right.
How about you?
I'm an Apple podcast guy. I'm an Apple guy on that.
Yeah.
And we're growing right now. A listener asked us to add Google Play as a platform. So we just added that a couple weeks ago. We have Spotify, SoundCloud.
Nice. We're everywhere.
So subscribe on your favorite platform and don't forget to rate and review us.
So we know what you think.
Yeah, rate how we're doing, review on what we have done, tell us topics you'd like us to cover, tell us if you think we're great and you are going to take over the world.
Subscribe, rate, and review.
It's the only way we'll know, and it keeps the shows coming. Thanks, everybody.